thought about it though, because during any of it, did you ever think this?
Why are only you allowed to come back, Beth? It shows you have some special position.
Well, it's about time that Boris finally stood up to Beth Rigby. The general public in this country have been moaning about certain reporters like Sky News' Beth Rigby, especially over the last couple of years since the first lockdown when they were doing regular press conferences in Downing Street. People like Beth Rigby, people like Robert Peston, being absolutely annoying. They're not really holding politicians to account. They're not really scrutinizing. They're just attention seekers. They ask a question, then they come back, then they're entitled. They feel entitled for the follow-up question and a follow-up to the follow-up question. And then all the other journalists, especially the independent reporters, they don't really get the same opportunity. Now, firstly, I'm not going to show the whole thing, but we'll go through it quickly. She starts asking the first question, Beth Rigby, and that question was not a question, it was a speech which lasted about 30 to 35 seconds.
Prime Minister, vomit, drunken altercations, security staff being treated with contempt, cleaners our country, and it's your culture of what's meant to be the place, the heart of mourning, when that report landed on your desk today, just out, says 3 in 5 Britons think you should.
Yes, Beth, I
had to skip through it just in case, because it's literally about 7 seconds of just Beth Rigby ranting, and then the Prime Minister finally answered the question. And then we got to the point where the whole thing escalated because Beth Rigby decided to come back with another question, as you saw, and Boris Johnson shut her down first. And then, because he knew that it's the same question that others are going to ask anyway, he answered.
Because during any of it, did you ever think this?
Why are only you allowed to come back, Beth? It shows you have some special position. Okay, forgive me. Well, look, I mean, I just repeat my my point. I think that I overwhelmingly feel it is my job to get on and deliver, and no matter how bitter and painful the conclusions of this may be, and they are, and no matter how humbling they are,
Right. So, firstly, right now these days, I'm not the biggest fan of Boris Johnson, as you guys know, but I actually quite enjoyed yesterday that his actions, Van Dan did the Sue Gray report. Gave a bit of a meltdown to the Labour side and the biased left-wing journalists and mainstream media. So that was quite fun to see. Also, this is his last chance. If he decides to govern as a Conservative Prime Minister, sort out the cost of living crisis, bring down taxes eventually, and actually sort out the border crisis. We still have a massive issue with mass migration in this country, legal and illegal. It's not just the boats. We have a bigger problem than just the small boats that come to Dover. There are a number of issues I need to sort out, and actually yesterday on this channel we reported that the government of the last few years have been giving money, taxpayers' money, in the name of grants to certain left-wing campaign groups and organizations, including the BLM and the others. And I've spoken to some of the contacts and friends I have in Whitehall, the advisors to the government. And the issue is that obviously we have to, the responsibility is goes to the Prime Minister and government ministers of these departments, but in reality they didn't even know about any of this. So it's their chance to sort it out. Jacob Rees-Mogg is responsible for efficiency and doing a bit of a shake-up in the Whitehall. So if they actually sort all these problems out, then he's got time until the next election. But right now, he's not governing as a Conservative Prime Minister. He's more of a Liberal Prime Minister, and we need to kind of sort that out. But I praise Boris for actually standing up to Beth Rigby, regardless of all that, because Sky News are getting ridiculously too biased to the left. We're going to come back in half an hour with more news updates for you guys. Subscribe to the channel. I'm Tousi, and we are the media.